Welcome to Hendricks How-Tos. Hello, I'm Jody Kaylor, coach, clairvoyant reader, and an energy healer. And today I'm going to do something a little different. We usually talk about one tool for 5 to 10 minutes, but I've decided to talk about one state, whatever state you're in that makes you want to shake it off. That's why we're calling this Shake It Off, with lots of tools. So if you'd like to grab a pen and paper, please do, or you can always watch it again. It'll be available on recording. So there is always something going on, and where we can get out of presence and out of alignment with ourselves, go from the normal ease and flow. And so the first thing I'll talk about is the awareness of where you are. And here's a great example that's occurred for me many times. I will be reading a book and suddenly I'll think, I've just read that paragraph 3 times and I still don't know what it says because I was dictating a letter or response to somebody or had something else on my mind. Or maybe there's something big going on in your world where you're feeling angry or really upset and you know you want to shake something off. So the second thing I will say is, say what's so, and the next thing appears. This is one of my favorite Katie phrases. One great example was many years ago, Katie and a bunch of other Hendricks people and I went to New Orleans to build homes for Habitat for Humanity. And we were all at the same hotel, took several cars, had our first day. We got in the car and Katie said, "Do we know how to get back to the hotel?" That's what was so. At that moment, another car pulled up, said, "Hey, do you know how to get back to the hotel? Follow me." So sometimes it can be quite instant like that. But in the example of the book, I said to myself, I just read that 3 times. I still don't know what it says. And then I have a choice because I've gotten present back to myself. So I love that one. And now I'd like to talk about fear in general and in specific, because it is a huge problem right now. And part of the reason why it's a problem is we don't always identify a feeling as fear. We might think it's just, I'm just angry, or I'm just really sad, or whatever it may be. It's not always identified. And that's in part because the brain doesn't lead, it follows. And we are relying on our brain to tell us, oh, I'm in fear. That's where the information comes from. But the body knows, and it knows because you're having a physical behavior. So it's like me right now. You can't think when you're in fear because it permeates everything. And it can lead you to think that the other is the enemy and is transgressing against you. So one thing I love is a humor shift or a clever way to name something, because then I'm much more likely to remember it and to use it. So as I was thinking about this talk yesterday, I had the thought, well, when I get into fear, and we will, because it's a necessary part of our evolution and it serves us to keep us from things we don't really want to be doing, and it will come back. We can't stay out of fear forever. So when I've gone into fear, I think of it as being on the Ferris wheel. I love that. So, and then what do I want to do about being on the Ferris wheel? First of all, as soon as I've identified that I might be in fear, or I know I'm in fear, I already have a little bit of a shift by saying I'm on the Ferris wheel. So that to me is another reason why it's not just fun, but helpful. You want to befriend the fear so that you can liberate the energy that is within it. So there have been prior how-tos about specific fear melters, and there are 4 types of fear, to remind you: fight, freeze, faint, and flee. And Katie Hendricks has come up with fear melters, so a particular way of moving with each of those. And with this video, there should be a link to the videos for each of the fear melters. So feel free to dive deeper and really learn how to use these and make them your own. So just briefly, if you are in fight and you are rigidity, and of course you have no options and choices when you're rigid. So you go into ooze. That's the antidote that's the melter for the fear of fight. Think of seaweed in the ocean, just very oozy. And then it's kind of hard to be fighting when you are oozing. For one of the other ones, let's say flee, if you can be fleeing physically, or maybe you just flee into your head and go logical. And that is a form of fear as well. So for flee, you want to root, and that can be imagining roots growing from your feet, or maybe your hands, or pressing on your thighs if you're standing, and grounding yourself. And for faint, there's wiggle. No, faint is love scoops. It's freeze is wiggle, and that can be subtle. You could be in line at the grocery store and wiggling your fingers and toes and nobody would even know, or you can do a big wiggle, and that is going to help you unfreeze. For faint, it is love scoops, and that is imagining you are standing in a big pool of love and you reach down using your torso and your arms and you scoop up some love and you land. You're saying, I'm here. I want to engage, come back to presence, be realigned with myself, refind my ease and flow. And maybe you're judging a particular body part. Bring that love to that body part. So those are the 4 fears and fear melters. And I think it's valuable to discuss fear for the reasons I mentioned. Just assume, maybe if you're out of sorts, assume you're in fear. Do some fear melters and get off the Ferris wheel, at least for now. Other tools, when you are having an upset and want to shake it off, now I did a how-to on this. I called Take the M Train. And that is the long, strong vibration that goes through your head and down to your toes. And this can't be underestimated. In fact, there's a lot of data and articles coming out now around the but it takes you from a reactive brain when you're in fight mode or having some form of fear to creative brain. So reactive brain to creative brain, where the solutions can be found for the thing that's upsetting you. Another thing I want to talk about is the just breathing. Long, slow, connected breaths, where you might count 4 to 6 seconds on the inhale, 4 to 6 seconds on the exhale. Drop your belly, let it relax, untense your belly, and remember, if you're breathing fewer than 8 times a minute, you can't physiologically be anxious. So these are better than medicines if you're using them. So these are great things to have in your toolbox. Changing your physical position is yet another one. Maybe you're just sitting there going, oh, this sucks. I don't like what's happening. Well, change that position, whatever it is. Move. That can change your state pretty quickly, which leads me to breathe, move, love. Having spoken of breathing and moving, the cliff notes, the shorthand for all the Hendricks work. I did another how-to on this, on breathe, move, love. And I think I mentioned that there should be a link to past how-tos if you want to look at that and go more in depth. But basically, breathe, take the breath wherever in your body it's not getting to. Maybe your ankle, maybe the middle of your back. Take the breath in, make it get good, reach all the parts within you where the breath is not going. Move everything that's not moving. So don't forget your jaw, your face, and between your shoulder blades. So breathe it, move it, love yourself, wherever you are, however things are going. And that's the shorthand at the very least. And then there's always the option of putting on Taylor Swift's Shake It Off and singing and dancing along. Thank you for singing along with me. I'll see you, I hope, on another future how-to.